Hello, welcome to another video. My name is Ailsa and today I'm going to do a bit of a book haul. It has been quite a while since I last did a haul, so this is going to be kind of a mixture of things. It's going to be some of the books that I have received recently, either as books that friends were giving away and I said I would take, some books that I have been sent for review, and some books that I have picked up from home. I'm leaving out books that I might have talked about in my August reading goals video, or books that I have already read since I got them and I'm going to mention either in a review soon or a monthly wrap up soon. I'm trying really hard to crack down on books that I actually buy. I really want to make an impact on my TBR. I'm finally going to get on with it and make a video looking at everything on my TBR and what actually needs to be read there, and setting myself a particular challenge to get through all those books. So actually none of these books I'm going to show you today are ones that I've bought, which I'm quite pleased about really. So let's get on with those books, shall we? First of all, earlier in the summer I was home at my parents', and actually I picked up some of my own books that I've read already, but also I picked up some books that my dad has read and recommended to me, and those are the Sir Benfro series by James Oswald. I've read the first in this series already. I read it earlier this year and really enjoyed it, so I might mention that in a wrap up soon or in a review video of some kind. These are books 2 and 3 in that series. I think there's about 5 books in total. Dad has the others at home, so next time I make it up there I will hopefully pick up those, but in the meantime I've got these to keep me going. So we have The Rose Cord, which is book 2, and The Golden Cage, which is book 3. These are books about a dragon and a human, and dragons can do magic, so can some humans, in a world that's got a kind of medieval setting to it, maybe slightly earlier than that. It's kind of classical fantasy really. I will talk more about the first book in the series in a review soon. The next book to mention, which my dad gave me from home, was Oversight by Charlie Fletcher. This is the first in a series, possibly a trilogy, I can't quite remember. I believe this is an urban fantasy book. I don't really know much about it except what my dad mentioned to me as he was reading it. He said it was a bit slow for him to get into, and I think he struggled through this one, but then he enjoyed it enough that he went out and raced through the rest of the series. So I will see how I get on with that. And also I read quite a lot of urban fantasy, whereas my dad doesn't read so much. So that might give us different opinions about this one, so I'm interested in getting to that one sometime soon. The final book I want to mention, which I brought down from home with me, is The Crown Tower by Michael Sullivan. Michael J. Sullivan started off as a self-published author. This book is published by Orbit, and I believe most, if not all, of his subsequent books are. He's one of these people who has written the books out of chronological order, and I can't quite remember if this is the first one chronologically or if it's the first one that he wrote. We had some debate about it, my mum, my dad and I, about which one I should start with. My parents have both read it and enjoyed the whole series. But anyway, this is the one I've ended up with. This, again, I believe is fairly classic fantasy. It's a made-up world. There are some people fighting a war, someone with nothing left to lose, and things like that. So I will see how I get on with that one. I'm hoping to read it sometime before the end of the year. Moving on from there, this one is actually the most recent one I picked up. This is Showstopper by Hayley Barker. That is actually really hard to show you with the camera because it's very shiny and gold, isn't it? I don't know many specifics about this, but it's to do with circuses, and there's maybe some magic in there or maybe not. I don't really know, but one of my friends had 2 copies of this, so was giving this one away, so I'm excited to get on with that one sometime soon. Then I've mentioned that I go to Super Relaxed Fantasy Club in London, and they often have free books available. So last time I was there I picked up The Synapse Sequence by Daniel Godfrey. This is published by Titan Books and came out in June. It's about a woman who was blamed. She was the scapegoat for something that went wrong in this city recently. It's in the future, I think. I don't know if it's this world in a dystopian kind of setting or if it's not really related at all. But people can use some kind of technology or magic or something like that to get into other people's heads, and it's about using that to try and solve a case in some way or another and maybe redeem this woman's reputation or something like that. So I'm interested in getting to this one as well. That brings us on to the books that I've received for review. First of all, there is Boundary Side by Robert Jackson Bennett. I'm taking part in the blog tour for it this coming week, and I'll have a review up on my blog, which I'll link below. This is the first book in the new fantasy series. I'm not familiar with the author's other work. He's written another trilogy before this one, but this is published by Joe Fletcher Books later this month. And you will see more about this in my wrap-up at the end of August, and check out my blog this week for my review. I've still got a wee way to go with it, about that much. It's about 40% of the book, I think, but it's very interesting so far. It's about a thief who steals something and then looks to see what the mysterious something is and ends up in a whole lot of trouble. A lot of people want the thing that she has stolen, and it could change the way that the city she lives in is run. Then, in a slight change of pace, I have 2 historical romance books that I got from Mills and Boon to review. The first of them is Lady Olivia and the Infamous Rake by Janice Preston. I'm reading this at the moment. It is about a woman who sneaks out with her older brother for an evening and ends up losing some jewellery that she had with her, and an infamous rake has come to her rescue that night and says he can help her get the jewellery back, but he's behaving like a perfect gentleman around her, and that's kind of where I am with the story at the moment. And again, I will mention that in a review, and I will also be writing a review of it very soon. I also got from Mills and Boon The Governess Game by Tessa Dare. I've read books by Tessa Dare in the past and really enjoyed them. She's a well-regarded historical romance author, so I'm excited to get into that. Then we have The Caged Queen by Kristen Ciccarelli. This is the sequel to The Last Namsara by Kristen Ciccarelli, which was released last year. It was one of my absolute favourite books that I read last year, so I'm really excited to find out what happens in this one. I believe the main protagonist is someone who appeared in the first book but was not a main character, and this book is focused on them and told from their point of view. I'm so excited to get into this one and see what Kristen does with this book. Then there is The Way of All Flesh by Ambrose Parry. I really don't know much about this one at all. One of my friends at work was reading it, and again, I got this from NetGalley. I believe it's published by Canongate. It is set in Edinburgh, and I think it might be about grave robbers. I can't quite remember, but it's set in Edinburgh in a historical setting, and I lived in Edinburgh for university. I loved living there. I think it's a great place to set stories, and it sounded really cool when my friend was telling me about it. And those are all the books that I wanted to mention today. Please let me know in the comments if you have read any of them and what you thought of them. I will be back soon with a wrap-up video and a video taking stock of my TBR pile, so I will talk to you then. Bye!